Starcraft player online. I mean, because it's so hard to get tone correct via text that I pretty much defaulted to just trying to be pleasant and nice and that sort of thing. So in StarCraft 1, I didn't ever really want to release that many of my replays because, I just figured it would be rude. You win a game against someone and they go, oh, here's the replay, I won, and I mean, it doesn't really serve any good. So I kind of kept to myself, and even if you look at my posts on Team Liquid, I generally tried to be very polite and that sort of thing. Because honestly, the whole social aspect, as much as I loved and as many friendships as I got, I just loved laddering in private. So I almost always smurfed and would play for like hours and hours and hours. A lot of people, for instance, would say, oh my god, Day, he's always really inactive and he always comes back for WCGs. I mean, really, I was active the whole time. I think the only reason I had any success is just because I played a lot. So, as grad school rolled around, I started to not be able to have 2 to 3 hours a day to, like, maintain my skill level. And it got to the point where I did want to watch these pro matches. Because, again, before this, not only was I playing, but I was also watching a lot of games. Like before class, I would bring my lunch back to my dorm room and watch the matches from the night before. That is if I wasn't, staying up all night to watch them anyways. So yeah, when grad school started really ramping up and I only had about 1 or 2 free hours a day, I just thought, well, I want to watch these matches anyways, and I want to think about it, and I want to talk about it. So why not just do a webcam stream? And that was pretty much it. So then the Day 9 Daily was born, and I just made sure that I stuck to it, because no matter what, everyone will always have ideas that are great, but the hard part is showing up, I think. And I was determined to do that. I actually remember there's like a famous quote, I think from Mel Brooks, I think it is, that he said 80% of life is just showing up. And that's always stuck with me quite a bit. So every single day I would show up. And that was that.
Well, now every single day, lots of people show up to watch you show up. So it's
all those were awesome.
So as an undergrad, I'm going to my junior year university. So they call it here. They call it university because it's a British. But how did you manage to be a even semi-pro player and still graduate to the level where you could actually go to grad school?
Well, I mean, I think the most important thing is just that I did what I really liked. I mean, I did math, and I just adore math. I think it's just really, really beautiful the way things line up properly there. And so it was nice to be able to sit down and work on my math. And generally, I don't really do too many passive forms of entertainment. Like, I love my TV shows, but generally I binge. Like, I'll get a TV show and blast through it. And also, one thing that helped a lot is that I just had absolutely no shame about playing Brood War. A lot of people will have a social life where it's a Friday night, they go out, they hang with their friends, spend time with them, and then, they go to school and do work and stuff. And then in between all of that, they try to work in Brood War. But of course, for me, Friday night, I would not go to the party, I would watch the StarCraft, and I would invite people to my house, or excuse me, to my dorm, to, also come and play, just because I just thought it was so cool. So that, I think, helped me quite a bit, just being able to align my social aspects with my little passion for Brood War. And also, a lot of my good buddies are StarCraft players, so it's fun to sort of log in and chat with them. I hope I answered your question. I started rambling.
It's fine. Another thing on the Day 9 Daily that I'm curious about is, what's the process, what is the entire life cycle of a Day 9 Daily episode, from first idea to broadcast?
So generally the weekends I start pondering what's going to be happening for the next week. I generally like to have 3 to 4 shows loosely planned as to what the topics are going to be. It's a little bit easier to, for instance, just do a replay. Like when I was doing it for Brood War, I was actually really, really short on time with the Brood War episodes. So for those, I literally would just read the forums, see, wow, this game was great, and I would just do that game. So for the most part, other than selecting what the video or the replay was going to be, I pretty much do no preparation for the show. I just start the webcam and begin talking, and that's about that. But I try to make sure that I update the schedule in advance, just because, a lot of people, if they saw, oh, The Little One, or, oh, Flash is being reviewed on the Day 9 Daily, they'd want to, allot time to be able to see that live. Because There's been a few shows where, for instance, I've updated at like 4 p.m. when the show was on at 7 p.m. what would be happening, and I noticed a significant drop-off in the number of viewers, so I want to make sure I keep the viewers happy. But that's about that, yeah. Pretty much just load up, hit go, and begin blabbering away.
All right, now, through the interviews I've done, I've interviewed now Husky, Rise, HD Starcraft, and the little one. And I asked all of them the exact same question. Some of them had secrets they didn't want to reveal until it happened, and the little one just said he's going camping. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with the show during the hiatus?
Well, because you can still watch replays, the show, of course, will continue on. I mean, there's no reason that will be stopping there. I do need the little one to send me more replays of his, because I love watching him play, so that will be a good bit of fun. But fortunately, all the replays can be loaded up in single player, so that's pretty much what I plan to do. I remember I was in a huge panic when I first heard about the beta downtime, because, again, I do not like prepared content at all. It's just a time thing. You know, for instance, I could write an article, but I can talk 5,000 words way more easily than I can write 5,000 words. Like, it would probably take me a few days to write 5,000 words, but I can just sit down in an episode and do that. So it's honestly much easier for me, personally, to have a show that I just sort of spontaneously throw out there. So when I saw that the beta was down, I was just like, please tell me I don't have to make a bunch of videos in advance. And fortunately, that is the case. So I proceeded to not worry about it anymore. So I'm just going to pretty much treat it as though the beta's not even down at all.
So you're just going to stockpile a big bunch of them and just sort of last the winter?
Yeah, I know. Basically just scoop them up into my big basket.
Okay, and, well, let's talk about some recent events, because you're sort of close to some of these, especially with the GOM TV thing, and I'd be curious to see what you think. But let's start with Patch 13, which dropped around the time I was doing the research for the interview here. It's been around for about a week, 2 weeks. How have you enjoyed just the whole experience of that?
I really, really like the changes to the Overseer. It's a unit that I'd kind of forgotten about. It's one of those things where you generally get it if you're saying, I really need to scout my opponent, but I don't have any Overlord speed yet, so I'll just throw out an Overseer, pop in his base, see what's up, and then back off again. And then you'd throw down some changelings, because, you know, it's fun. They get to morph, and they sort of crawl around and explode in a cool fashion, so why not make some of those? But, I mean, other than that, sort of the forgotten unit, so that change I just thought was fantastic. Makes it a lot more of a unit that you're excited to get and excited to play around with. I do think that would and of course, I really shouldn't be doing this because the beta is already undergoing so many changes and the designers are looking at this, but a personal wish list of mine would be that if the Overseer had a spell that helped an army. Right now, the Overseer is literally this spellcaster that only does damage to the opponent's base. It does damage to the buildings. You have the Changeling that wanders in there. You have the Infested Terran that costs so much mana that really you'd only ever want to do it as some sort of worker line harass. It would be cool if it had some other little benefit that it could give to your own units. So, you know, there'd be a little bit of tension of where do I keep my Overseer? I think that would be fancy. But either way, I think that was a brilliant change by Blizzard on that one. The Roach, it was in patch 13 that the Roach got put to 2, or was that in patch 12?
It was patch 12. Patch 13 was, I think, just the Overseer Infester stuff.
Uh-huh.
Frenzy, Ultralisk getting plus armored attack, and...
Yeah, Ultralisk I'm a little bit questioning on. I get them, because I want them to be good. But I haven't really noticed anything. Yeah, I don't know. I get them. They're awesome. I want them to be awesome. They were one of my favorite units in Brood War. So we'll see how that ends up turning out. But I really like the changes to Terran. I feel like the Marine Marauder stuff is a lot more fun to do. You can be a lot more aggressive with them. So I'm down for it. And the Protoss changes, the Void Ray, again, another change I really like, balancing out the Terran versus Protoss. I think that Chthon Lux said it best, that Terran vs. Protoss has traditionally been the most broken matchup. Not as in it's imbalanced, but Terran had like 10 cheeses they could end the game with in 5 minutes, and if it went past 5 minutes, Protoss had a million options that they could end the game with. So I think that the adjustments to the Combat Shield, to the Stim, to the Void Ray really balance a lot of that mid-game action out, so I am into it. Yeah.
And what about force fields that can get smushed by massive units?
Great. I think it's really clever. I like that a lot because really it affects three things. One, the Thor is a lot stronger against gateway units because if you throw a whole bunch of units, or excuse me, SCVs to repair it, force field goes down. That would normally pop it off, but now nothing ends up happening. So I think that is the big one. Ultralists, sure, they can lead the battle, but not too many force fields going to be coming up at that point, unless you're going for some sort of gigantic Colossus style play, and then force fields are awesome there. But the Colossus, I think, is going to have one of the biggest effects with the force field, because now in Protoss vs. Protoss, you can hallucinate a Colossus to wander up the ramp, so that way your opponent cannot block off